Wayne Russell, going to be back January 8 into 2024. What's going to be a big year for Midday Madness, all thanks to Werribee Kia and the open line. It is open, as always, 1300 736 736. Now, I do have to give some prizes away. I've got a $50 e-gift card at the House of Golf. I've got a Bataki ham and an Albert Park mini golf family pass to give away, so we'll get to them shortly. The 40 Wings Temper text is always fired up, though. Here's Glenn. An absolute given, an absolute certainty is that Kane Corns will continue to bag North no matter of their results. Well, Kane Corn isn't too far away from joining us in SEN as we get into the new year as well. Before we get to Laurie Evans, let's get to Mitch Cleary, Channel 7 chief reporter, and broke the news this morning about Clayton Oliver leaving the camp, the Melbourne pre-season camp right before Christmas. Mitch, welcome back to SEN. What is the story here around Clayton Oliver?
Good afternoon to you, Cam, and all of your listeners. Yeah, day 3 of the Demons 4-day training camp at the moment. We arrived at training this morning to see no Clayton Oliver on the Great Ocean Road. He actually headed home Monday night. So the first night of the camp, he did come down with teammates. They all caught a big bus, and the club arranged for Clayton to make his own way back to Melbourne with what they're describing as a personal medical challenge. So no Clayton Oliver here at the moment on the Demons pre-season camp. Just another chapter to what's been a pretty turbulent off-season, really. We know he was a strong trade option at the end of the year. Clubs inquired around that. He found himself in hospital following a seizure, was asked not to drive after that said seizure, and now has a date in court in January after he was caught behind the wheel in November. So, yeah, it's a few things he and the club are working through at the moment. It's just another chapter to what's been a pretty sizable 2 or 3 months in the life of Clayton Oliver.
The club in this particular occasion, are they worried about Clayton Oliver, and are they surprised, or is it something that is a conversation they've continually had over the last 3 or 4 months that may have happened?
Probably more in the latter of those two. I think ever since the end of the season, we know that the hamstring injury, he had his challenges working through that and rehabbing that, and his off-field commitment and professionalism was questioned by a lot of club leaders in that trade period of time. I think this is just another flow-on effect of that. There's going to be ups and downs in the recovery of Clayton Oliver from his body, but also what he's dealing with off-field. Not to mention as well, he had a knee arthroscope post-season as well. So he's been away from the main group, and this another week now away from training. He's not going to help his chances to get back in the side to start the season. So, yeah, it's a concern for everyone at Melbourne, but they're supporting him as best they can, and they're continuing to wrap their arms around him. There's a lot of resources and, love and care going into, trying to get Clayton Oliver back in the right headspace to ensure that he's at his best on the footy field. Absolutely.
So, well, there should be. Mitch Cleary, Channel 7 chief reporter, joins us. Just quickly, Mitch, before we do let you go, you broke the news last week on the unfortunate ACL to Bailey Smith. It might have been last Wednesday, actually, so 7 days since that news come out. He has spoken since. He's spoken about the contract negotiations and the decision he has to make. Are you hearing anything, any whistles blowing in the background, or is it just sort of try and get through the new year and see where it all sort of fits in the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think regardless of the ACL, he was always going to wait until the new year, January, February, to see how things settled at the Bulldogs. It's been a pretty big off-season for them as well with the changes they've gone through. Pretty much everything around Luke Beveridge has changed in some form, and the review of Peter Jackson is still ongoing. So I think he was going to sit back and wait regardless. Now the ACL will give him even more time to work through that. There's no doubt he may well have played his last game for the Western Bulldogs. There's going to be clubs coming for him 2 years from free agency. I'm sure that'll be a factor as to whether he signs a 2-year deal to get him through to free agency, or whether he goes for a long-term deal. These are all the things he'll weigh up in the off-season. But I don't think maybe the ACL might deter clubs from throwing the mega long-term deals at him. But I'm sure there's no shortage. Well, I know there'll be no shortage of clubs coming for a player who hasn't been at his best for the last 12 months, but exploded in that 2021 final series when the Dogs made the grand final.
I believe there'll still be those. The numbers that were getting bandied around, prior to the ACL, I think will get bandied around and the contract length and all the rest of it. I would like to see him stay for another 2 years, get through free agency, find his best football, but he's a guy who's going to be in hot demand, even without playing a game in 2024. Mitch, always appreciate you jumping on the line, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam.
Channel 7 News tonight, chief football reporter at Channel 7 is Mitch Cleary. There you go, after the news broke this morning around Clayton Oliver. Quick break.